Hi, once again I'm back with a boxing prediction video. This is actually not for this upcoming weekend, but the one after. Yeah, I just couldn't wait until then. So, here it is. Yeah, first fight I will be predicting is Joe Smith Jr. versus Maxim Vlasov. So this is a rather interesting fight because Joe Smith Jr. Is has now really proven himself to be a true world class contender in his last fight, especially when he stopped Later Alvarez, who was never stopped before and only beaten by Kovalev on points. And before that, he also beat Jesse Hart on points. And this guy, Joe Smith Jr., is the big favorite in this fight. He's 31 years old. So he's still at his peak, and this guy Maxim Vlasov is 34, and he has had a few losses, even though both have 3 losses anyway. But Vlasov actually used to be cruiserweight, but after losing in WBO interim world title fight to Krzysztof Glowatsky, he started fighting at light heavyweight. And he is definitely the taller guy. He is 6'3.5", while Smith Jr. is 6 feet. And the reach, well, I don't know what Smith's reach is, it doesn't say, but this guy doesn't have such a big reach, so it means that the height difference won't be as important, because Vlasov doesn't have a much bigger reach, no matter what Smith's reach is. Yeah. Alright, so I see it. Vlasov has Isaac Chilema and a few others among his wins. Olan Revaju Duro at cruiserweight, but he still hasn't fought that many outstanding fighters. The best guy he fought was Glowatsky, and he lost to him. So he also fought Gilberto Ramirez, so he started as a light heavyweight and then became a cruiserweight and then returned to light heavyweight. Alright, so I don't know really this fight. I mean, neither guy has been stopped before, and or actually Smith has been, but that was very long ago when he was far from his best. I actually think that Smith is the favorite. Yeah, definitely, because he has beaten his best wins are better than Vlasov's best wins. But of course, they say the styles make fights, so yeah, styles do make fights. But Smith has proven to be a really deadly puncher, and while Vlasov doesn't seem to be a really hard puncher, so he may be more of a boxer or a pressure fighter, I don't know, but of course, because of his height, he may create some problems for Smith Jr., who hasn't fought that many, but he did beat Jesse Hart, who is 6'3", so that was a split decision victory. Yeah. So I don't know really. this is pretty. But I still think that Smith Jr. Is the most likely winner because he simply has more in store than Lasso. And now Lasso is also slightly older, has had more fights than Smith. He's had 48 fights and Smith 29, so that's also a big difference. Could be a decisive factor. So I don't think the Lasso has enough power to stop Smith Jr. And well, it's not like he does have power, but it's not like he's a true knockout artist that wins in world class fights by knockout. So that's one. Anyway, I'd say Smith wins either on points or I can also see him pull off a stoppage, but I don't know, since this guy Lasso hasn't been stopped before, maybe not. Maybe it's safest to go for a decision. So anyway, Smith Jr. is my prediction as the winner, most likely on points. Alright, so then we have Josh Warrington fighting finally against Mauricio Lara. So Warrington hasn't fought since October 2019. And in the meantime, he not long ago vacated his belt, so IBF won. I guess he didn't want to fight his next mandatory. So he's fighting somebody called Mauricio Lara. Yeah. I really don't know this guy at all, but I'm looking at his record. It's not just. He seems pretty, like a B fighter or C fighter who has only fought unknown fighters so far, and he's been knocked out once in one round by one of them. So I guess it's a rather safe opponent for Warrington, and the fight is at Wembley. So I don't know if Warrington can pull off a stoppage because, as you know, he's not such a. Even though he won by a second round TKO in his last fight, that was more like, kind of early stoppage, I thought. But anyway, that guy was really just not. The guy he was fighting was simply not meant to be there that night, and yeah. So Warrington, I believe, will win on points also, most likely. Alright, then we have Richard Comey, who is returning finally for the first time since he had a devastating loss to Teofimo Lopez in December 2019. He's fighting against somebody called Jackson Martinez and some Dominican fighter who is a tall lightweight, 2 inches taller than Comey. Yeah, so Richard Comey is now 33. I guess. Unless that knockout loss hasn't taken too much out, I shouldn't think so because for first it was early on. Second, he was he was not really. It's not like he was out for cold, for several minutes. He got up, but he just couldn't fight. So yeah. And so he should be, back to his normal. While Jackson Martinez is just an unknown fighter to me, and he lost his last fight to an undefeated fighter. The first decent fighter that he fought he lost to, and by a rather clear decision mostly. So Comey should be able to win this pretty easily. Maybe even by a stoppage, because he does have power. Scored 26 KOs of 29 possible so far. So I think he will stop this guy pretty soon. Also, maybe within the first 4 rounds or something. Yes. And then finally, this is perhaps the best fight of that weekend, on the 13th. Joseph Diaz, who just became IBF Super Feather champion last year, but hasn't fought since 30th of January. So he's making his first defense, which will be tough, I expect, against Shavkat John Rakhimov. So who is this guy Rakhimov? He's 50-0. First of all, he's from Tajikistan. Yeah, 15-0 with 12 knockouts. Yeah, so he, of course, can hit. Rather hard hitter. So he previously stopped Robinson Castellanos in 2018 in 2 rounds, which was impressive. And Malcolm Klassen, he was already, of course, on the slide. He stopped him that same year in 8 rounds. And yeah, so he has a few good wins on his record, and he's a young, promising guy, 26. He's the taller guy also. He's 5'8.5", while Diaz is 5'6". Yeah. So this will be a quite tough fight. I really don't know. Diaz has only one loss, which was to Gary Russell Jr. He was very impressive, of course, against Devin Farmer when he won the IBF title last year, but still, Devin Farmer is not really. He's, of course, a solid fighter, but I think this guy Rakhimov might be a better opponent, a more serious opponent for Diaz. So I don't know really if the fight goes the distance. If it's a close one, then of course Diaz will probably get this decision. But if it doesn't go the distance, of course Rakhimov is the one that is favored to win. Because I believe Diaz has only 15 KOs of 31. So he's hardly a puncher. He's definitely a boxer. More of a boxer who can stop you if he really lands a lot on you. But he's definitely not a knockout artist. So Rakhimov might be, or he's definitely somebody that can stop you, quite suddenly, in not too many rounds. So yeah, I don't know really. This is a tough one. As I said, Diaz is favored to win on points, but Rakhimov is favored to win by a stoppage. So that's what I'm going to say. No more. But of course, Diaz has more fights, is more experienced, for what that counts. So maybe he has slightly better chances to win on points. Alright, so that was that. See you next time. Until next time.